Hello and welcome to St. Lucia Magazine, your weekly roundup of the nation's top stories in education, the economy, infrastructure, agriculture, and more. I am your host, Kendall Eugene, standing in for Nivalo Geist. In this edition, government calls for justice and stronger action against gender-based violence, and St. Lucia establishes its first coroner's court. The government of St. Lucia is calling for justice and is urging citizens to support efforts against crime and violence. Desley Poyot has the details.
Prime Minister and Minister for Justice and National Security, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, has condemned the recent killing of Joyce St. Omer, describing the incident as a disturbing act of violence.
No disagreement should end in violence. We must learn to talk to each other, seek help, walk away when necessary, and resolve conflict without violence. Every woman, every person deserves to feel safe in the country. Every family deserves peace. Acts of violence must be met with accountability and justice, because no family should have to endure that kind of pain. We respect the separation of powers, but we hope that the people who take these decisions are not mute to what's happening in the society generally. Government will continue to strengthen prevention, justice, and rehabilitation. And we call on the social services to provide the emotional support and the counseling that is necessary during this time.
In a public statement, Minister for Gender Affairs and Social Justice, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, confirmed that the ministry has already mobilized support services for those directly affected by the incident.
The government of St. Lucia reiterates its promise to respect, protect, and fulfill every citizen's right to live lives free from violence, and calls on all citizens to play their part by reporting, either by calling 999 or 555 for crime reporting. For intimate partner violence, please remember to call 202 for guidance, support, and shelter.
The minister also cautioned against spreading fear and distrust in the aftermath of traumatic incidents.
I would like to caution the public that traumatic situations such as these may trigger fears, insecurity, and anxiety, and I am calling on the general public to consider those most vulnerable at this time and refrain from heightening fear and distrust that can thrust victims into isolation and despair. If you need emotional support, please call 203 or reach out to the Division of Human Services or your nearest mental health clinic for support.
Directly addressing perpetrators, Minister Hippolyte stressed government intolerance for acts of violence. Additionally, she assured the public that state institutions are strengthening coordination efforts in crime prevention, gender-based violence response, and a justice administration to address violence in all its forms. Reporting for the Government Information Service, I am Desley Poyot.
St. Lucia has established its first ever coroner's court, marking a significant step in government's efforts to improve the justice system. Here is Nivalo Geist with that report.
For the first time in St. Lucia, the Judicial and Legal Services Commission has appointed a coroner following the establishment of a dedicated coroner's court within the magistrates' court system. Desma Charles has been appointed to the newly created post.
This appointment follows the establishment of a separate coroner's court within the jurisdiction of the magistrates' courts. The coroner's court was established in response to the growing need for a comprehensive judicial mechanism to examine deaths occurring in unnatural but non-criminal circumstances, including deaths in custody, fatal accidents, suspected suicides, and other matters affecting public safety.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, who also serves as Minister for Justice, referenced the establishment of a coroner's court in his 2026-2027 budget address as part of the government's ongoing measures to strengthen the justice system.
In addition, we are investing in the coroner's court, strengthening our ability to conduct timely and thorough investigations and enhancing public confidence in the administration of justice.
The establishment of this court represents a major advancement in St. Lucia's justice system and positions the country as a regional leader in judicial modernization and institutional accountability. For the Government Information Service, I am Nival Auguste.
In related developments, witness protection agencies are being considered in an effort to improve crime prevention. Once again, here's Nival Auguste.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre says strengthening witness protection remains a critical component of the government's crime-fighting strategy. During a press briefing, Prime Minister Pierre acknowledged that fear of retaliation continues to discourage witnesses from cooperating with law enforcement.
Witnesses are afraid to give evidence because they fear that there may be repercussions if they give evidence. We've changed the Evidence Act in terms of how can evidence be delivered and how can evidence be received.
The Prime Minister said St. Lucia recently discussed expanding witness protection programs.
We had a conference on witness protection where we could see whether we could expand the scope.
However, he noted that such programs are costly and resource intensive. Prime Minister Pierre said the government has been investing heavily in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force through recruitment drives, infrastructure upgrades, and new equipment. The Prime Minister added that government efforts are not limited to enforcement, but also include social interventions targeting youth development and family support. For the Government Information Service, I am Nival Auguste.
Still to come, St. Lucia attempts to reduce its food import bill with the production of local Irish potatoes. Stay with us.
For years, St. Lucian farmers faced storms and unprecedented rainfall with no protection at all. When crops were destroyed, so were the livelihoods of farmers. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, that has changed. St. Lucia is now the first country in the OECS to activate the Regional Economical Agricultural Insurance Program, or REAP. It's a $1 million government fund designed to safeguard banana and plantain farmers against storm damage. By investing in agricultural insurance, the government is helping farmers recover faster, stay productive, and secure the nation's food supply. Your government is working for you.
Welcome back. St. Lucia is moving to reduce its food import bill with a renewed push toward local Irish potato production. Virgil Leonti reports.
The St. Lucia government is continuing to prioritize the nation's food security with a heavy push towards the production of Irish potato. The first harvest of the crop was shown to the public on Tuesday, May 19th at the Cardi Field Station in Larissus Dennery. A representative of the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, Cardi, Mr. Barry Innocent, explained that $2 million are being spent annually importing potatoes.
Important reason is the heavy or extremely high food import bill. Millions of dollars are being invested into importing or bringing in white potato. So the CARICOM ministers of agriculture, including at the time Honorable Arthur Prosper, thought it'd be a good initiative to encourage Cardi to go into finding ways for research to have a white potato variety that can grow in St. Lucia. There are three key varieties that have been worked with, but in this particular initiative and in the Eastern Caribbean, it is more specifically the Desiree variety of white potato. Desiree is kind of a pink, red variety, and then we also had the Spunter, which is a kind of a white variety.
Tomato and pepper farmers in particular are being encouraged into Irish potato production. According to Ministry of Agriculture official Thaddeus Constantine, Potatoes share similar properties as these vegetables.
Potatoes like cold nights. They like tomatoes. They like cold nights, warm days. They like a difference in temperature of about 5 to 8 degrees between the night and the day. And that's how they're going to tuberize. Tomatoes and peppers are the same. They're from the same family. And so farmers who are able to grow tomatoes effectively can grow this crop effectively. They have the same care. They have the same challenges, same disease challenges, same insect challenges. And the only difference is that this crop tends to be a little specific, that we have a planting window that we try to follow for the varieties that we've evaluated.
He stressed that local weather conditions are suited for the many varieties of the crop, which can be grown year-round. Former Agricultural Minister Honorable Alfred Prosper, under whose stewardship the initiative was introduced, noted that the project can slash the food import bill and boost the local economy.
So mga via sou sa mga di sanse bagay mga hope nou kay we pres tout fama ka pon liti we are then because Andy nous debout mener pomte entre cette lisi. Nous savons vivre en stage côté nous savons commencer voyer pomte d'or Martinique dans Saint-Vincent l'autre place because nous ka produire assez. Not just dit ça pour ça mais l'année chay l'autre légume. Nous ne pouvons focus à ça. Nous avons mené top chapon en Sainte-Lucie. Nous avons entré top tomatos. Nous avons entré top moulon. Chaque les mois aller ko marché avec moi moulon. Les mois drive descend mon pour na moulon bon chemin. Et puis nous avons mené ces moulons ça entrer. Bon m'a blame Massi, m'a blame hôtel là. Mais est-ce nous ni assez pour nous vendre by ces hôtels là et tout ces moun là. Là nous avons chay. Et là nous pas une pièce. Et encore ça c'est because of temps nous avons fait cela. Temps c'est un temps côté hordia ou un soleil l'autre mois ou quand un chay la pluie. Bon nous pas même ça que temps ça aller actuellement. Délai nous la pluie ça et avant hier délai nous pas pour en 3-4 semaines. Climate change.
From the Government Information Service, Virgil Leonti reporting.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre says financial support will be provided to eligible vendors affected by the transition from the Castries Vendors Arcade as the government moves to ease relocation challenges. Melissa Paul tells us more.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre today received an update on the transition of vendors to the renovated and expanded Castries Vendors Arcade. The Prime Minister is pleased with the progress made so far and expressed his desire that all the works be completed at the soonest. The Prime Minister was also briefed on the complaints of some vendors on the arrangements that were made for their transition.
Some form of financial support will be given to vendors who meet the requirements for that level of support. I want to assure the vendors that the government will always see about the benefit of the people. The government will maintain that the people of St. Lucia must come first. And very shortly, an announcement will be made on the level of support that will be given to the vendors involved.
The Prime Minister has requested a detailed report on the financial status of vendors, relocation costs, and estimated loss of earnings during the transition period. The government says the findings will guide the level of assistance to be provided to affected vendors during the transition period.
Stakeholders in St. Lucia's financial sector are welcoming newly approved insolvency regulations. These measures will strengthen debt rehabilitation efforts and provide greater support for persons facing financial hardship. Here's Glenn Simon with the details.
Stakeholders within St. Lucia's financial sector are expressing optimism following a consultation hosted by the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, NCPC, in collaboration with the Office of the Supervisor of Insolvency. The consultations focused on the country's newly approved insolvency regulations, which are expected to strengthen the implementation of the new insolvency framework and provide greater support for debt rehabilitation and financial stability. General Manager of the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Union League, Shane Felicien, stated that while there is naturally some apprehension surrounding any new legislation, the credit union movement sees the Insolvency Act as an important tool for assisting members facing financial difficulties.
The credit unions are an integral part of our society and actually are the ones who help build the smaller members of society into having an equity and a stake in society. So the introduction of the Insolvency Act we see as will be beneficial for helping not only people who facing slight and minor insolvency or debt issues, but we are there as a credit union sector to work with them. And so we applaud the government for passing the act, and even more important, passing the regulations to make sure that the act is effected.
Felicien noted that the regulations provide the practical guidance needed to operationalize the legislation. He added that the strong turnout from the credit unions demonstrated the sector's commitment to understanding the law and helping members benefit from it. President of the St. Lucia Bankers Association and Country Manager for Republic Bank EC Limited, Ron Leo, described the consultations as productive and beneficial for both consumers and the financial institutions.
I think the insolvency legislation provides a lot of opportunities for persons who have fallen into hard times to have a supervisor, a trustee, somebody who could understand their financial situation and actually represent them to that financial institution and say these are the opportunities that we have after having consulted that person so that they could get to a better position.
He explained that the legislation creates a structured pathway for individuals unable to meet their debt obligations to work towards financial recovery through supervised arrangements. He, however, indicated that financial institutions also raised recommendations aimed at enhancing access to credit across the country. The supervisor for bankruptcy and insolvency, Natalie DeSouza, said the recently approved regulations now allow the Insolvency Act to be fully administered and implemented.
It was important for us to have this session with the financial institution, which included the banking sector, the credit union sector, money services businesses, as well as credit institution that falls under the Banking Act. And this session was important for us to understand that how can the secured creditors, such as financial institution, can work with a debtor in terms of ensuring that one can be rehabilitated under the legislation.
Director of the NCPC, Lisa Flora-Montoute, said this consultation represents another significant milestone in the implementation of the insolvency framework.
The NCPC is very excited to have worked with the Bankers Association and to have had this meeting today in ensuring that they are well informed of what's contained in the Act as well as the regulations.
Legal consultant Bota McNamara was the lead presenter at the consultation, which was held at the Bank of St. Lucia Conference Room in Castries. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
Coming up next, the Department of Equity partners to empower young women in sport.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Nutrition in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank and the Interdevelopment Bank.
Welcome back. The Department of Equity has partnered with the ESB Foundation to empower young women in sport through mentorship, wellness education, and support initiatives. John Emmanuel has more in this report.
The Department of Equity, Social Justice, Gender and Older Persons has partnered with the ESB Foundation, led by former professional footballer and community advocate Eartha Pond, to deliver a targeted initiative aimed at empowering young women in sport through education, mentorship and wellness support. The Girls Aloud Flow Motion activation took place on May 12 at the St. Lucia Sports Academy, engaging female student athletes, coaches and support staff in discussions surrounding menstrual health, breast and bra health, confidence building and female participation in sport. Ms. Pond, who represented St. Lucia during the CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup qualifiers in 2023 and has enjoyed a distinguished football career with UK-based clubs including Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspurs, said the initiative was rooted in her desire to give back to St. Lucia and support young women through education and practical resources.
We know that the government's done a massive commitment in terms of period poverty and trying to eradicate that on the island. So one of the objectives is to share what our programme is, what it does, and hopefully be able to spread that across the island in terms of supporting more young girls in schools.
Participants received specially prepared code red packages containing menstrual supplies, educational resources, hot water bottles and sports bras designed to support girls' health and well-being. Moderator Bernice Lewis described the initiative as an important intervention addressing women issues that are often overlooked.
We recognize that conversations surrounding breast health, girls' development, confidence, hygiene, female participation in sports, and of course, periods, are critical to the growth and well-being of our students. This meaningful session has been made possible through the vision and generosity of the founder of the ESB Foundation, Ms. Pond, and we are deeply appreciative of her commitment to uplifting and empowering girls across St. Lucia.
Speaking on behalf of the Department of Equity, Donnelly Estevez-Sanage said the collaboration aligns directly with the ministry's mandate to empower vulnerable groups and strengthen gender equity initiatives.
This is a collaborative, it's a pilot effort that we're hoping to scale on a national level. So looking at the activities here today, we're hoping that we can broaden this to not just yourselves, but young ladies like you all across St. Lucia.
The initiative was coordinated for the Community Development Unit of the Ministry of Equity in collaboration with the ESB Foundation and facilitated through professional linkages established with the St. Lucia High Commission in London. The initiative complements ongoing national efforts by the government of St. Lucia to help alleviate period poverty for an allocation of $250,000 to schools for the procurement and distribution of free feminine hygiene products to students, along with the removal of VAT on feminine hygiene products.
Drivers within the public service received specialized training aimed at improving professionalism, safety, confidentiality, and service delivery. Miguel Morissette reports.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, each and every single one of you, to the Professional Drivers Development Program.
The training division within the Ministry of the Public Service, Transport, Information and Utilities Regulation has commenced a 3-day workshop aimed at strengthening the skills and professionalism of government drivers. The workshop, which began on May 20th at the training division in Union, forms part of the Ministry's Professional Drivers Development Program. The initiative is specifically designed to enhance the professionalism, safety awareness, discretion, and service excellence of drivers assigned to ministers, parliamentary secretaries, and other senior government officials within the public service. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Senior Minister and Minister for the Public Service, Transport, Information and Utilities Regulation, Honorable Stevenson King, emphasized the significance of the workshop and the responsibilities entrusted to government drivers.
Today's workshop is very important as far as I'm concerned. And many times, those of us who are at the top tend to believe that we've got drivers and they know what to do. We believe that they understand the job, that they understand their responsibility. And for me, I see it much broader than just being a driver. Being a driver means that you have, whether it's the minister or a supervisor, permanent secretary, or even staff who you normally transport on a daily basis. It means that you have those important lives in your hand, very important lives. Whether it's your colleagues who you drive sometimes, most importantly, driving officials. The trust and confidence is placed in you to take those individuals from one point to another point safely.
Minister King further highlighted the importance of confidentiality, professionalism, and preparedness while executing official duties.
You are one of confidence, somebody in whom we trust. We trust. We speak even while you're driving us. We're on the phone, we're talking, you're probably listening and hearing some conversations, but how do you treat those conversations? There's need for trust and confidentiality. Your ability to hear but not hear, your ability to understand but don't understand, and your ability to be able to ensure that the business of that official, which is conducted while you're driving, is kept in there and not outside of the vehicle. You've got to be able to, if in case a medical emergency, to be able to deal with this. And more so, you have to have a full understanding of protocol.
The program covers a wide range of areas aimed at enhancing the competence and preparedness of government drivers. Modules include ethics, confidentiality, protocol, etiquette, communication, personal well-being, vehicle safety, maintenance and inspection, defensive and protective driving, as well as security awareness and threat sensitivity, among others. From the Ministry of the Public Service, Transport, Information and Utilities Regulation, I am Miguel Morissette.
The Catholic Church in St. Lucia has launched a faith and science lecture series aimed at promoting dialogue on environmental stewardship, social justice, and sustainable living through the lens of Pope Francis's teachings. More in this report.
The Cardinal Kelvin Felix Archdiocesan Pastoral Center at Marisil is the venue for the series of faith and science lectures recently launched in St. Lucia. Archbishop Gabriel Malzer was instrumental in defining the faith and science concept for the lectures.
Let's look at the world as that gift of God. Science helps us to unravel the world, to understand the world, to know the world, and we need to know the world.
The lecture series will examine a 2015 edict by Pope Francis subtitled On Care for Our Common Home. The lectures aim to inspire constructive dialogue and action on major challenges facing humanity.
This gathering is more than an academic exercise. It is a moment of communion where faith and reason meet, where tradition and new insights enrich one another, and where the Church continues her mission of guiding hearts and minds towards the truth.
In order that we would be able to solve the ecological crisis, we need to develop new methods of thinking, to elaborate new moral and ethical values, and no doubt new patterns of behavior.
The first lecture was delivered by Archbishop Gabriel Malzer, in which he echoed the thinking of Pope Francis that social justice is central to survival of the planet.
If we are to have a sustainable society, it must address justice, it must address solidarity. Solidarity meaning, how do we feel the pain of the ones who suffer?
The Archbishop calls for the entire community to get more meaningfully involved, particularly local institutions.
Whether it is family life, whether it is the social structures, whether it is the government, whatever it is, schools, these are the institutions that we belong to. They need renewal. And the Pope says in Laudato Si 43 that the quality of life and the breakdown of society are closely related.
The Faith and Science lecture series primarily targets the Catholic population, but is open to other Christian denominations, private sector, and civil society organizations within the St. Lucian Society.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of St. Lucia Magazine. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who contributed to this production, the National Television Network, the GIS team, and the communications officers across government ministries. Thank you for watching NTN Channel 122 and following the official social media platforms of the Government of St. Lucia. I am Kendall Eugene, standing in for Nivalo Geest. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged as we continue tracking St. Lucia's progress.